Hi, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to repair these ladies' wedge shoes. As you can see, the straps have come out and this one has the sole tearing away. This one has a decorative layer on and as you can see it's peeling off. And this one over here is also tearing away here and the top sole is also peeling off. Alright, starting with this shoe, as you can see the strap has come off and I'm going to show you how to fix that. The first thing you want to do is get some glue. Now this is a contact adhesive which is often used in carpeting. People who install carpets often use this type of glue. When it dries, it still remains elastic. You can get professional shoe glues, but I'm just going to use this contact adhesive because I've used it before and it works quite well. In terms of repairing the soles, this glue works fine, but if you're going to be gluing things like this, I recommend a stronger glue. During this repair, you're going to need a rag. I've wet it, it helps a bit. I've got a tissue, I've got a screwdriver, and I've got some tape, and I've just got some items just to add some weight, because once you've glued the sole, you want to depress it a bit so that it stays stuck. Starting with the one with the broken strap, what I need to do is put the strap back in there. Now when you put the strap in, it actually has to go under, so effectively the foot is standing on the strap when it is fed through the sole. And the reason for that is it helps the strap stay in place and not get pulled out. Alright, so there's a few techniques to get this inside. One of them is to let the strap come out like this. And once you're happy, you lift the sole. You might have to tear a little bit and bend it inside like that. So you can actually, at this point, use your screwdriver and push it all the way in. And just make sure that it doesn't bunch because you don't want to have a bump here. Another option is to wedge it. And as you can see, I'm going to pull it out a little bit. And as it's come out, at that point, I now feed it in. So I push it in, and because it was flapped round, I can get my screwdriver, and then as I push my screwdriver, can you see how the strap is getting deeper inside there? Now just be careful when you're pushing here, don't get the screwdriver to come through the sole, otherwise you'll puncture the screwdriver through the sole and you'll damage the sole. So when I'm pressing the screwdriver, I'm always pressing towards the bottom part of the shoe. That part is strong. Now, if you're battling here because there isn't much space, it's okay to just cut a little bit in here and open a little bit of the glue. Remember, you are going to be gluing this again. So if you want to, you can just cut a little bit here just to give yourself a little bit more space. As you can see now, I've got more space there, and it doesn't matter because you're going to glue it anyway. Alright, so now I just make sure that the strap is flat all the way inside there. I now want to check that the level is right, that I haven't made it too tight compared to the other side. So I can see there, I can see the way the shoe is, and I can see that it's still not in enough. If you have a look there, you can see that used to be embedded inside there, so I still need to insert the strap a little bit deeper. Now if you're battling to get the strap in, you could use long nose pliers just to help you grab it, but it's not mandatory because you can do it with the screwdriver. So what I want to do is I just want to pull that down a little bit more and just wedge it round. There we go. Right, so now if you have a look, you can see that it is seated more in, so it is now deeper under the sole. So at this point, just ask the person to put their feet in and just compare, because you want the straps to have the same tension. And if you don't have to wear it to do a test, you can always just compare it to the other shoe, and you can also just take a measurement if you had to. Right, now when you insert the glue, it's very important that the glue gets underneath and between the strap and the sole. So the glue has to get over there as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put that flat, and I'm just putting a pencil mark here so I know where my reference point is. Right, you might not see it, but there's actually a pencil mark here which I've just drawn. So now I know the reference position of that strap. So now what I need to do is put the glue, but as I said, the glue has to also go between the strap and the sole. So you're going to put the glue underneath here, but also between the strap and the top part of the sole. So it's glued from both sides. Right, now you can see that I'm pushing the glue between the strap and the sole. You can see there, right in there. Get some more glue. Now be careful of trying to pump the glue. If you try and pump the glue, all that's going to happen is the glue is going to squirt out here. or might even squirt out there. So I'm not pumping it, I'm just putting a bit of glue and then using my screwdriver to spread it all over. Now you just want to make sure there's some glue here on the sole. And now as you mate these surfaces together, you can see that there is sufficient glue. That is why I don't put lots of glue here. You can already see some is weeping over there. So if you look at it, you can see that there was already sufficient glue. That is why I didn't have a lot of glue here on the edge. Okay, now this is where your damp cloth comes in. Now, don't worry about this type of glue because when it dries, you can just pull it off. Right. As you can see, the damp cloth cleans the glue off very nicely. What we need to do now is to just glue the shoe, but you don't want to see that glue line. So I just want to make sure firstly that I've got enough glue there. There's a little bit missing over here. And there we go. So now it's time to compress this. And I'm just going to compress it with my hand firstly, wipe it, and then I'm going to compress it with a weight. So now I'm going to just wipe it. Now, as I said, don't worry about this. Remember that when this glue dries, you can easily peel it off. But if you're really worried about it, you can just wipe it now while it's still damp. Right, now that little bit there I can peel off when it's completely dry. So all I need to do now is depress the shoe till the glue is dry. Right, so all I did is I wrapped up a cloth and I put a weight on it. Right, I'm now going to repair the other shoes. Right, now on the next shoe you can see it's suffering from this problem. Just requires a bit of glue there, and on its partner, same problem. Right, so you can hold that open. Now you can put the glue in there. Make sure the glue is on both surfaces, there on the top and on the bottom. Then as you can see, as I bring these two surfaces together, you can see there's the glue. There it's wanting to weep out. What I'm going to do is apply the pressure and then I'm going to put a weight on it just to hold it down while the glue dries. Right, so you could use anything. I've just put a cloth there and then the weight. The reason why I put the cloth is when you put a weight on this spongy sole, it deforms it. So if you had to try to wrap this with something that was tight, like a rope or something, you'll see that when you finish, this will be deformed. That's why I've put this cloth here first because it spreads the weight quite evenly. Right, now this one has this decorative cover. And as you can see, it has also come off there. So what we need to do is glue this onto that, and then also you can see the sole is coming off. So we still need to do the same thing with the sole like we did with the other shoe, but now we just have to add this extra step. We just need to put some glue on the inside there. Right, so there goes the glue. And then as you can see, I'm just putting a bit of glue on the inside here. Now you don't need a lot, really you don't. And even that is too much, and this I'll have to clean. So all I'm doing is I'm pushing the glue deep inside there, make sure both surfaces have got the glue. And when it comes to this decorative layer, you can see I'm just making sure the glue is on the inside of this decorative layer. You might not see it on the camera. Let's see like this. If you look closely, you can see now I've managed to get the glue underneath here. So when I put this decorative layer in, it will stick. So all I'm doing now is I'm massaging this layer onto the shoe. There you can see. And these little flaps, not a problem. You just push them underneath. And they also have glue, so they are seating nicely, as you can see. All right, so just massage it again. So that's now done, but now we just need to get a little bit of glue on the top here. And there we go. Remember, it has to be on both surfaces. I'm mating the surfaces together. And as you can see, look, some of the glue is starting to weep out. And if you want to, you can wipe this now. As you can see, that is now flush. All I need to do is put something on here so that the glue can dry. Now when it comes to gluing the tread, I highly recommend you clean it with some alcohol. You want these surfaces to be very clean. So this is rubbing alcohol, and I'm just cleaning the surfaces. And now just wait for it to dry, and then I will glue it. Now as I said, with the tread, I recommend a stronger glue, but I'm just going to show you the method. So what you want to do is you want to coat the bottom surface, and then you can see where it's mating to. It's mating even onto the sponge part. So you can coat this quite liberally. And as I bring this here, you can see how it's important not to use too much glue. Because if I use too much glue, it will be running down the side. So all I need to do now is hold that in place. Now this is where the tape comes in handy. Now what I do is I take some tape and I've put it the other way around. As you can see, that's not the sticky start. If you use the sticky start, you're going to get sticky glue from the tape coming off here after a few hours. So what I do is I actually put this backwards and I wrap it around like this. And now what I do is I pull it from this side and I fasten it. And there you can see it's now tightening onto the tread. Right, now it's time to check the shoes. They have all been drying for more than 12 hours. And I just want to go through this with you. If you've got this problem, if you have a look here, there's some glue that has gotten on the sole here. So you can, because it's elastic, you'll see that if you just take your finger and you peel it off, you should be able to, see there, you should be able to just peel this glue off. And I see there's a little bit of glue that has weeped over here, and I can also just remove it. And as you can see how I can just peel the excess glue off to leave you with a very clean seam over there. If you have a look here, you can see that I did make a bit of a mistake. Some of the glue got on the sponge there. Now the sponge is porous and there was a very small amount of glue. It has discolored the sponge a little bit. So what you can do is you can just take a blade and just go sideways, and you see what I'm doing. I'm just scratching, gently scratching that excess glue off. Right. And as you can see, the sponge is now clear. This shoe had the decorative cover peeling off, and as you can see, it is now inside there. It is tight. Having a look, you can see that the sole is now stuck to the bottom sole, and that decorative cover is now in place. And then lastly, this one, you can see it's stuck nicely, but I've got some cleaning up to do here. Now, as I said, I do recommend a stronger glue, and you can get a glue that dries transparent. But in this case, you can see there's a slight amount of smearing that has happened, and I'm just going to clean it up now. Right, so all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to peel the glue away. As you can see, I don't need this part, and there it's coming off the sponge. And if you're finding that it's not coming off nicely, you can just use a blade just to help it a bit, but just be careful. You don't want to cut the sponge. Now this glue happens to dry and leave a yellow color, so if you want to, you could just buff the tread a little bit to remove some of this glue. See that color discoloration there is just the glue on the tread, so I could just buff it a bit to get the black rubber color back. Now you could just leave it like that, but I'm going to show you one last technique, and this is a 200 grit sandpaper, and all I'm going to do is just sand it gently to remove that yellow color. And there you can see the tread is now stuck to the foam, and I've removed that yellow residue of the glue. Right, so that brings me to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Cheers.